Struggling with loneliness in a world that's more connected than ever? Research shows that chronic loneliness can be as harmful to your health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. In this video, we'll explore proven psychological insights that help you build real, meaningful bonds and reclaim a sense of belonging you might not know you're missing. The hidden costs of loneliness. Could our hyper-connected lives be silently fueling an epidemic of isolation? Loneliness is more than a fleeting emotion. It's a state that can impact mental and physical health. Studies by researchers such as Dr. Julianne Holt-Lundstad suggest that loneliness elevates stress hormones, disrupts sleep, and even increases the risk of heart disease. Despite living in an era of constant digital interaction, many of us feel more isolated than ever. This disconnect happens because seeing filtered versions of other people's lives doesn't necessarily satisfy our innate desire for genuine human bonds. The paradox emerges when we rely heavily on likes, comments, or quick texts as stand-ins for authentic relationships. These surface-level engagements might momentarily distract us from the ache of loneliness, but they rarely address the deeper need to be seen, heard, and understood. Alone versus feeling lonely. Solitude can renew your mind, but when does it slide into overwhelming loneliness? Not all isolation is harmful. A peaceful walk in the park, a weekend spent reading, or creative pursuits done solo can be deeply restorative. Solitude allows us to process thoughts, manage stress, and reconnect with ourselves. However, loneliness feels like an emotional void, one where you crave connection but struggle to find or accept it. You could be in a crowded place and still feel completely alone if you sense no one truly understands you. Recognizing the difference is crucial. Solitude is chosen and can be empowering. Loneliness, on the other hand, can become an unwelcome companion, whispering that you're forgotten or excluded. When you start to notice prolonged sadness, anxiety, or withdrawal, it may signal that loneliness has taken root. Listening to these emotional signals is just as important as paying attention to physical pain. They're telling you that something vital is missing. Why human bonds matter. Our brains are wired to belong. What happens when that need goes unmet? From birth, humans are biologically driven to seek out relationships. Brain imaging studies reveal that social rejection and physical pain activate many of the same neural pathways. In other words, loneliness can literally hurt. Beyond the emotional toll, chronic loneliness is linked to higher blood pressure, weakened immune function, and even cognitive decline as we age, according to data from the National Institute on Aging. Quality relationships offer a buffering effect against life's stressors. Even a single supportive friend or family member can make a significant difference in your sense of well-being. Knowing you're valued and accepted encourages personal growth and resilience. Real human bonds nourish us psychologically and help mitigate the harmful effects of stress. Social media's role in modern isolation. Has the rush for likes and views replaced deeper human interaction? Social media platforms can keep us updated with distant loved ones, but they also tempt us into superficial exchanges. Scrolling through highlight reels of others' lives can stir up feelings of inadequacy or exclusion, which can amplify loneliness if we already feel vulnerable. Algorithms often prioritize viral content over genuine connection, nudging us toward passive consumption rather than active engagement. That's not to say online interactions can't be meaningful. They can. Video calls with friends across the world or supportive online communities can foster real relationships. The key is being intentional. Ask yourself whether your digital habits enhance your emotional well-being or leave you feeling more disconnected than before. If you're finding these insights valuable and want more videos about mental well-being, social psychology, and practical life tips, consider subscribing. Your support helps us reach more people who might be looking for ways to overcome loneliness and improve their relationships. Breaking the isolation cycle. From simple daily habits to open-hearted conversations, practical ways to overcome loneliness. One of the most effective strategies against loneliness is consistent, genuine outreach. Start small. Send a thoughtful message to a friend, invite a colleague to grab lunch, or call a family member to catch up. Real-life gestures of care and curiosity can chip away at the invisible walls we build. Be patient with yourself if reaching out feels awkward. Vulnerability often does at first, but it's also where deeper connections begin. It's equally important to challenge self-defeating beliefs. If you've been telling yourself, "No one cares," or "I don't fit in," you may unintentionally confirm those thoughts by withdrawing even more. Recognizing and reframing these patterns is a skill worth developing, sometimes with professional help, like a therapist who can guide you in altering negative thought cycles. Cultivating authentic community. Bigger circles aren't always better. Sometimes it's about forming deeper, more meaningful ties. Whether it's a local book club, a volunteer group, or a fitness class, shared interests can foster camaraderie and a sense of belonging. Attending these gatherings regularly builds familiarity, transforming acquaintances into friends over time. Studies indicate that a sense of community improves mental health by offering emotional support and practical resources. If you can't find a group that sparks your interests, consider creating one. Host a weekly board game night, start a hiking club, or organize a potluck for neighbors. The goal is consistent interaction built around something everyone enjoys. Over time, you'll notice how communal activities shift your mindset from feeling isolated to feeling involved and valued. The journey inward. Building external connections often starts by examining your inner narrative. Persistent loneliness sometimes stems from deep-seated beliefs about our own worth and desirability as friends or partners. When you carry the assumption that you're uninteresting, unlovable, or somehow not good enough, it's easy to sabotage opportunities for genuine connection, often without realizing it. You might avoid initiating conversations, turn down social invitations, or project your insecurities onto others. These defense mechanisms can become a cycle. The more you protect yourself from potential rejection, the more you reinforce the notion that meaningful relationships are out of reach. Recognizing these patterns is a critical first step. This is where self-awareness and self-compassion come into play. Self-awareness involves observing your own thoughts, emotions, and behaviors without judgment. For instance, if you notice a negative thought like, "They won't be interested in what I have to say," pause to question it. Is this assumption based on past experiences, a fear of rejection, or harsh self-criticism? Naming the root of the thought can diminish its power. Meanwhile, self-compassion asks that you treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding you'd offer a close friend. Instead of berating yourself for feeling lonely, acknowledge that loneliness is a universal human experience, one you're actively working to overcome. Therapeutic methods such as cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, and acceptance and commitment therapy, ACT, are designed to help you identify and challenge harmful thought patterns. CBT focuses on cognitive restructuring, noticing when your mind jumps to worst-case scenarios and learning to replace distorted beliefs with more balanced views. ACT, on the other hand, encourages you to accept difficult feelings, like loneliness, while committing to actions that align with your values, such as seeking out friendship or joining a supportive community. Both approaches can guide you in cultivating healthier self-talk, which in turn paves the way for more trusting and open relationships. Mindfulness and meditation can also play a role in this inward journey. Through daily or weekly practice, whether it's a guided app session or simply sitting quietly observing your breath, you learn to stay present with your thoughts and emotions without letting them define you. Journaling is another tool that helps you process complex feelings by putting them into words. By reflecting on repeated themes such as fear of rejection or embarrassment, you gain insight into how your beliefs shape your social interactions. Finally, consider the importance of celebrating small wins. If you've opened up about a personal struggle or initiated a conversation with someone new, acknowledge that victory. Change often happens gradually, and each step, however small, builds confidence. Over time, these incremental successes can shift your inner narrative from one of self-doubt to one of self-acceptance and possibility. When you see yourself as worthy of connection, you become more open to giving and receiving empathy, a crucial ingredient for forming authentic bonds. In conclusion, breaking free from loneliness is more than a temporary fix. It's a gradual transformation that involves self-awareness, courage, and openness. Every step you take, whether texting a friend to see how they're doing or inviting someone out for coffee, builds momentum toward deeper, more nurturing connections. If you've resonated with these tips, consider the next step. Join a local group that interests you. Volunteer for a cause you care about, or set aside uninterrupted time each week to connect with loved ones. Real conversation and true empathy remain our best antidote to loneliness in a digitally saturated era. Remember, by actively shaping your social environment and challenging negative beliefs, you move closer to a life rich in support, mutual understanding, and genuine friendship. Your mental and emotional health will thank you, and so will the people who finally get to know the real you.